guys, welcome back to another album review. This is for the new album by someone who I've shouted out a lot on this channel. I do actually have a tattoo for him on my knee. 44phantom, All My Bad Feelings. This is his new album and I am so excited that it is finally here. I know I'm a few days late to hearing it, but I've finally heard it, I've given it a proper listen and I've come up with my thoughts for it. So let me tell you what I think. So to me, this album straight off the bat, and I've thought this with the singles especially, Fuck Me Up and Feel Like Crying, that it gives me a lot of Post Malone vibes, especially throughout the album as well, with the mixes of piano, the muffled drums and the trap hints throughout the album on the beats. And I also think 44phantom does something very similar to Post Malone in these songs, that he shows off that he is incredible at creating a melody. You know what I mean? So the way that Post Malone works perfectly with a beat, 44 does that on this album all the way throughout. The beats, even the weird ones, 44 manages to make himself really fit in comfortably to those songs. And the songs that I found this to be the case with was the opening track, I Always Run Away, which was a really good opener, and Fuck Me Up. Those were the two that I was just like, that's very, very Post Malone. You also get 44phantom really showing some passion on this album. And the songs that I found that to be were Ruin Everything, Feel Like Crying, Didn't You Know, and Control. But as much as I don't want this whole review to be me comparing 44phantom to Post Malone, this is the biggest thing that I think with this album. It is extremely similar, especially if you're a Post Malone fan and you listen to the music. Post's got quite a unique style and 44 definitely incorporates that. Just, like I say, the use of melodies that he puts together is really quite impressive, especially for a smaller artist to be sort of similar to one of the mainstream's biggest stars. It is quite impressive. But there is a part of me that goes, a lot of this album sounds the same in a very similar way that I say to every Post Malone album that's ever been put out. When you've got a melody that works really well with that particular beat and it's very like personalised to it, it makes the song sound different. That's what gives it the variety that the album needs, especially if you're going to go back for repeated listenings. Okay, Control was definitely a highlight for me on this album because it brings some acoustic guitars and one of 44's best vocal performances I've ever heard him do. Following that, Fuck You Now is probably my least favourite on this album, just because I find the beat a bit weird. But when I say it's my least favourite, it's still good. There isn't a bad song in this album. There isn't a song that I listened to and I was like, that's a bit shit. But that's the one that I was like, that beat's a bit weird. But also the acoustic was added to this album as a bonus song. It's very, very similar. It sounds like the vocals are taken and put it over a acoustic instrumental rather than acoustic vocals as well. Don't know if that is the case, but that's what it sounded like, but I would say the acoustic is a little bit better. I Love You to Death, the closing track, is a little bit of a tearjerker moment, and if it catches you on the wrong day, then it probably will make you lie in your bed thinking about the world in a really deep way. Deep. First off, let's get my negatives with this album off the way, because I've got two flaws with this album. Like I've mentioned so many times in this video so far, and I'm so sorry for keeping on going on about it, the Post Malone influences are so obvious. And the only reason that irritates me is because the biggest flaw I have with Post as an artist is he has got a phenomenal voice. He has got a natural, very nice voice, and so has 44phantom. So when you listen to their songs, they always sound like they're hiding behind a barrage of autotune and reverb. It's so infuriating because they are talented, like they genuinely are, they don't need it. And autotune sounds good on some songs. There's some Post Malone songs that I'm just like, yeah, the autotune actually adds to it. But then sometimes you just want to hear someone's voice, you know what I mean? Especially if they're trying to be all deep and talk about life and their experiences. And also the lyrics on this, so similar to Post, because on the surface you look at it and you're like, okay, that's quite like a well thought out, deep song. And then you read the lyrics and you're just like, I did drugs, I fucked toes. Like, it's nowhere near as investing as you think it would be when you first hear it come on. But my positives completely outweigh the negatives. Those are my biggest things, and you can put that into one if you want. It's Post Malone's influences are way too prominent on this album. But I think 44 Phantoms really proved what he needed to. He's proved that he can make a really competent project, put it out, and have people compare it to one of the mainstream's biggest stars. Like, that is impressive. And I also think he did something very smart of having an album that songs do sound similar, but having it short, not stretching it out. Like, this is a 10-song album, I'm pretty sure. It's over literally as you start it. So it leaves me wanting more. Like, I want more 44 Phantom. I will go back and listen to this album several times. I fucking love him. Also, a massive praise is there isn't one bad song on the album. That's rare. Even like my all-time favourite albums, which, don't get me wrong, this isn't on, they always have one song that I'm not fussed about. It's rare not to have a single song that I'm like, yeah, that's a bit shit. And also on the build-up to this album, 44 Phantom has came across as really likeable, really appreciative towards his fans. And I know he's a smaller artist, and smaller artists are usually the ones that are more appreciative, especially when you look at what a twat like Machine Gun Kelly's been, and 44 Phantom's the person that went with him as his support. Like, it does just show that fame does change people. But yeah, he has been very appreciative towards the fans, even to the point where he commented on one of my latest reviews, my review to Feel Like Crying it was. But overall, I massively enjoyed this album, and I wish 44 Phantom the very best of luck. He's a great new artist, he has insane potential, and he's released a very well done and enjoyable album. I really enjoyed it. There are some things where I'm like, it'll be interesting to see if it's like better on the next one, if like the lyrics get a little bit better, if the songs get a bit more variety. But for a relatively new artist, for his first like album, I think it's really impressive. So I'm going to rate this album a 7.5 out of 10. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought of it, and let me know what you thought of this album. Am I right? Am I completely wrong? Let me know, and I'll see you very soon. See you later.